I'm like, I'm done, I can't do this, it's sore, it hurts, I hate it.
Hi guys, welcome to another video.
Oh, we're laughing now, but it's not funny. We recorded this video yesterday in a mukbang and we had to scrap it.
It was almost an hour and a half. I basically went into sloth mode.
Yes, and the problem is, when you start talking about weight loss and health,
You open Pandora's box, don't you?
it really is. So each topic that we're going to cover today is like worth one video on its own.
But we're going to try and be more concise today, and to do that, I'm going to ask the questions, and we're going to put Natasha in the hot seat.
Well, a lot of the questions were directed to
That's
me
true.
anyway. So we are answering the questions that you guys left on our previous video,
Yes.
which was a workout, exercise, routine and update.
Let's get
go.
right into it. After you guys went vegan, what motivated you to exercise more than previously?
Easy. We got on YouTube, on social media, and we started watching other people, other vegans that were really fit and healthy, and we thought, yes, we want a bit of that. We'd never been fit in our whole lives.
No.
Me, certainly not. You, maybe when you were a teenager.
But not in our adult years.
Yeah, so we were really inspired to get fit, and also we saw how wonderful and effective social media is in bringing people to the vegan lifestyle.
Yes.
And a lot of people come to veganism through the health route.
That's right.
So we thought, well, that's a great way to draw people into the vegan message, so let's get fit and healthy and inspire people.
How did you start getting into exercise? Did you start slow and gradually, or did you jump right into where you are now, especially with running?
Good question, and we have quite a funny story, but it wasn't funny at the time. We do not do what we did.
No.
Unfortunately, we did kind of jump right into it,
Yeah.
especially with running, and it was the stupidest thing we ever did. We started running in, I've got my notes here.
December 2013.
Thank you. And at the time, we didn't have proper footwear. We were just wearing basically sneakers. You know,
Yeah.
it was the cheapest thing we could find.
Yeah.
And our idea of running was just jogging around an oval, which there's nothing wrong with that. But we went from doing a few laps to attempting a 5K run on New Year's Eve, and
I
then.
have to wait for that chopper. It's way too loud.
So we closed 2013 on New Year's Eve with a 5K run, and then we did a 6K run on the 1st of January 2014. So closed 1 year and opened the next year running, and we were running with...
Jeanette and Alan Murray Wakeland, who ran 366 consecutive marathons in 2013 and the first day of 2014.
Amazing. So we wanted to
most
be a
incredible
part of
feat.
that. It was
Yeah,
incredible. It was a really great experience, but it killed our knees. We were
Oh.
not in the right condition, so don't do what we do. You need to start slowly and build up very gradually,
Yep.
especially with running. And we do recommend get your fitness up on the bike, because the bike
There's
supports
lower
your body
impact,
weight.
yeah.
So you're not going to hurt yourself the way you are if you go out and do a run. So get fit on the bike, and then you can transition into running.
And also visit a specialty running shoe store and have your foot or feet properly assessed
Yeah.
and get the right footwear for your anatomy.
That makes a huge difference.
Yes. I am not fit. How do you recommend starting out? I am not strong enough to do push-ups, and my core isn't ready yet for some of those moves. Do you have any advice on building up the amount of push-ups you can do? I'd love to work on my arm strength, but at the moment I can barely do one.
Okay, so to build core strength, we really recommend yoga or Pilates. There are some great moves in there that's going to help that core get nice and strong. And also you can drop your knees to the ground for, say, push-ups, for example. That's going to take the pressure off the lower back. The other thing is to always draw your belly button in. So you want to activate the core when you're doing any core work. Your body's not floppy, it's drawn in and active, and that's really going to help. In terms of the arms, I actually recommend starting with light weights at the gym, because when you're doing body weight training with your own body weight, you can't say, oh, I'm going to lift less than my body weight today. You know,
No.
your body weight is what your body weight is. So I would recommend just lifting really light weights at the gym just to build some muscle gradually. And once you've got to a certain point that you can comfortably start working with your own body weight, then move into body weight training. So start soft and gentle and slow and build yourself up. And it's going to hurt no matter where you're starting at. You're going to be sore the next day. So that's okay, that's normal, and that will reduce as you get stronger.
How many reps would you recommend for those of us just starting out?
That just depends on each individual. How are you feeling? What is your starting strength? So it might be 1 rep, it might be 5 reps, it might be 10 reps. Everybody's going to be different, and only you will know what is okay for your body. And so it doesn't actually matter what your starting point is, just start and you build up slowly.
So somebody left a long comment here. I'm not going to read the whole thing out, but to paraphrase, they're saying, what do you think about not counting reps and instead just doing as many reps as your body intuitively feels you're able to do on that day? What are your thoughts on that?
I think that if that works for you, then you should do it. I think this is very much a personal thing. So I can only speak from my personal experience. I can't apply that theory because I wouldn't get my butt out of bed. I wouldn't do any reps. I need structure and I need more discipline. So I set out with, I'm doing, say, 20 reps of this exercise. And that's what I set my mind to, and that's what I do. Because if I listen to my body, after 2 reps, I'm like, I'm done, I can't do this, it's sore, it hurts, I hate it, stop. And then I just wouldn't do it, I wouldn't do it. So depends on how you feel. I think we always talk about this, that we tend to set the bar up here, quite high, because we know that we're probably going to fall here. But if we set the bar here, we might only get to there.
That's right.
So we always like to set the bar higher. We bring out the eye of the tiger, all right, not the Katy Perry stuff, the real stuff from 1980. And we just like zone in and go for it. We need a target and we do push ourselves. Now, if you're sick or if you're injured,
different story.
Obviously, no, don't do that. But if you're just like, no, I'm not feeling it today, for me, that ain't gonna work. There's no way we would have the results physically that we have today and that we showed in that previous video if we exercised more intuitively, because we wouldn't do it. So yeah, if it works for you, go for it. If you need the discipline, set yourself a target and push through it. And I will say, we always say this.
Oh, yes.
When we start off working out, sometimes like you start off and you're just like, oh my God, no. And the harder the workout is at the beginning, we find the better it is at the end. It's like something switches at some point in your workout and you're like, F it, I'm going for this. And they end up being your strongest workouts. Yeah,
it's almost like you break through both a mental and a physical barrier or wall.
Yeah, we call it a wall. We're like, we're going to smash through that wall.
Yeah.
So there's a fine line between the mind saying, oh, I've had enough, I'm not feeling it today, just stop there. And the body actually saying, okay, no, I physically can't do this. Yeah. So you have to be able to determine which it is, and don't pull back just because the mind's saying, too much today. Just
because as humans, we'll always take the easier route.
Oh,
always.
Yeah.
I was wondering, where's the best place to start as a beginner and how to work up to doing the weekly workout of that level?
Yeah. First thing is start. Because a lot of people get overwhelmed with where to start and they don't actually start. So just start doing something, anything. And it doesn't have to be working out at home like what I was showing. It can just be start by walking. Start by walking uphill. Start by climbing stairs. That's really going to get your fitness going. Cycling again is less impact on the body.
As is swimming.
Swimming, exactly. Maybe dancing. If you enjoy dancing, join Zumba. We love Zumba. Just start something and you will know how to progress based on what your fitness is and how you're feeling. You need to decide how quickly you progress, but just start with something and be gentle and mindful, but keep that end goal in mind. Work towards it.
Next question, 2-part question. Part 1, could you give us an example of what vegan foods you were eating when you say you were eating less whole foods?
Okay, so when we were eating less whole foods, we were eating more vegan processed foods. And by processed foods, we're not talking about vegan junk. We've never been into vegan junk food. What we were eating at that time was more refined foods like white rice. We were adding sugar to smoothies. We were eating a lot more pasta and noodles. And
that's the main thing, with the occasional sort of grain flour bread-like product, like a tortilla wrap or something like that.
Yeah, and also breakfast cereals like Wheat Bix. And so when we moved more towards whole foods, we would have brown rice and whole grains, for example, rather than white rice. We'd be eating fruit in its whole form, and it's obviously sweeter here in Thailand than it was sometimes in Australia, so we didn't need to add sugar to it.
Exactly, and eating oatmeal instead of Wheat Bix.
Yes, so just making those changes and reducing the amount of pasta and noodles. And for about 3 months during that time of eating more processed foods, we were eating out quite a bit. We'd have dinner out almost every night, and so therefore we were having more white rice and more noodles. And when we stopped eating out so much and started cooking our dinners at home, we were eating more whole grains and more potatoes, more whole foods.
Second part of the question, and do you think you eat more calories now on whole foods than when you were eating more processed foods?
No. And the reason is?
Simply because whole foods contain the whole food, the most important part being the fibre. The fibre helps regulate satiety, helps trigger satiety, that is your satiation after eating. And so when you're eating something like white rice that's had most of the fibre extracted from it, it doesn't trigger satiety, satiation in the same way than if that fibre was still in there. And what that results in is you end up being able to eat more calories. We find personally...
We can eat bottomless pits of white rice,
Yeah.
and it feels like it never touches the sides. And this is what was happening. And
But you can't eat bottomless pits of whole grain rice. That fibre, it's like self-limiting.
yeah, you can only eat so much of it, And this is not to say that you shouldn't eat white rice or white rice is bad. Not at
We're
all.
just talking about our
experience.
personal experience and responding to this question specifically in terms of calories before on processed foods and calories now on whole foods.
Yes, you are naturally going to eat less calories in whole foods because you're fuller, you're satiated faster than when it's processed. The body just registers those calories differently.
Yeah.
And also, it's easier to drink a lot more calories than it is to physically eat them.
Yeah, so we could actually put more whole fruit into a smoothie and blend it up and consume that than we could if we actually tried to eat that same amount of whole fruit in its whole form.
Yes, and that's a good test, I think, to know, where you're at.
Yeah.
So
for example, we used
Yeah.
to be able to put 25 dates, medjool dates at 70 calories a date, so for a 1,400 calorie smoothie, and drink that no problem.
And this is me at only 5 foot, and then half an hour later I'd be like, I'm kind of hungry again.
Whereas if Natasha tries to eat medjool dates in their whole form without blending them into a smoothie,
no way can I have 25.
you only like 2 or 3.
Yeah, they're too sweet for me. I'm not.
Yeah.
So.
Or bananas, you could put,
Yeah.
10 bananas in a smoothie and there's 1,000 calories. But if you sat down to eat bananas in
I'm
their
good
whole
at
form,
like 7.
so there's
maybe,
700 calories. So there's
Just
basically
those little differences.
You found you could
Yeah.
drink 300 calories more in bananas when blended into a smoothie than you could eat bananas in their whole
That's
form.
right, and that all adds up.
It
and
does,
just
day in, day out,
Yeah.
day in, day out, an extra 300 calories than your body
Yeah.
really requires.
So basically, when you stick to whole foods, eating food in its whole form as much as possible, you will find that you're naturally going to be satiated a lot sooner, and you're naturally going to eat a little bit less than when you're eating the processed counterpart.
Yeah, and if you're recovering from an eating disorder, or
Yes.
you're looking to be a bodybuilder,
Yes.
or you're a
Or you're an
high-level athlete
athlete.
that's burning lots of calories, then that's when processed
Yes.
foods like smoothies that enable you to consume more calories are helpful.
That's right, yes. So if you're not training like an athlete, then you don't need to eat as many calories as an athlete. That's something to consider. Yeah.
What did you eat when you were heavier? Is the result more from the food or the exercises? We're going to answer that question in the next video.
Yes, there were so many questions from you guys. We can't put it all in one, so part 2 is coming soon. Thank you so much for watching this video.
Leave your comments about this video down below. Give the video a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already.
And please also ding the bell and check that box to make sure that you get notification when we upload our next video.
And remember until next time that going vegan is not the most we can do.
It's the least we can do. See you for part 2.
Bye guys.